Tea milk to sugars. Tea milk to sugars. Tea milk to sugars.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are based. We are based in the United Kingdom. However, Tea Milk to Sugar, the show we are presenting to you, has gone international, and that we are so happy to announce that. And right now, officially, we have more viewers and listeners outside the United Kingdom for some weird reason. But the show takes you wherever the show takes you. Welcome to another episode. To another episode of Tea Milk with Sugars. My name is Cyrus, and I have the pleasure of presenting to you Paulette Hallam, Ms. Paulette Hallam, from also the United Kingdom. We're going to be talking about. Actually, before I tell you what we're going to be talking about, I'm going to let Paulette introduce herself and tell you what she does, and then we'll come back and start the show. Please go ahead, Paulette. Oh, before you start, Paulette, check this video out quickly, and then.
That's
Paulette
wonderful.
Hallam,
Thank you.
ladies and gentlemen. That's more
Thank
like it now.
you,
Please go ahead,
Cyrus.
Paulette.
That was lovely. Now, I really appreciate everything you're putting into me. I really do. And into Jack and Water. So I was a corporate girl. I went to the glass ceiling, as they say. And then through my own ill health and also my son's mental health, we reached a decision that it was better that I retire. So I retired to help him, to support him in whatever was needed and required at that time. And what I didn't know and what I didn't understand, and no one had ever really explained to me, was how a child's mind works. No one ever took me to one side and said, "You're going to have a child, you're going to have a baby. It's great. Here's a book on how to wipe nappies and wash nappies and wipe bums and whatever, how it turns from a, pea to a cherry to a whatever. But nobody told me about behavior. Nobody taught me how to manage a child that was going through anxiety and trauma and worry and bullying and fear. And that was such a massive thing for me that after we got him well and stable, and I said, no, I need to use all this knowledge. I'd passed so many tests and exams on the way. I'd got all these NDIP behind me. And it was like, I've got to use this for good. So I called myself a mental wellness coach, and I put myself out there for children who needed me. My door was revolving. It was horrific. I could have worked 18-hour days. And there I was, retired and of ill health myself. So we decided to pour everything into books. We've written a series of 3, a trilogy of books. They all work on the same principle of anxiety. Anxiety cripples adults. It does exactly the same to children. Every transition that's hard for an adult, you look at the top sort of 3 or 4, it's like changing job, getting divorced, moving house, things like that. A child changing school, a child moving house, a child dealing with the loss of a grandparent. They're all things that we go through as adults and struggle with ourselves. And yet we're expecting the kids to just fly through as if nothing happened. And yet we deliver a big old rucksack of worries, and we don't even know we're doing it. And so the books were formed from those worries, from talking with my son, from talking with lots of children. and really understanding that you have to give children the chance to work out the problem themselves, but you have to give them the tools to be able to do that. And Jack and Walter is the conscious mind and the subconscious mind working together to problem solve. It's called emotional intelligence. It's not a subject we were taught at school. It's not a subject kids are learning even now, but the books teach it. And so I'm incredibly lucky to say that they're all international bestsellers. They are all well-loved books by both parents and children, therapists, counselors, libraries. They're all over the place and different countries all over the world. But the message is the same, that we're not prepared to even bring a child into this world without a book like Jack and Walter. Because how do we know how to help them if no one's shown us ourselves? So that's what the books came from. That's what they do. And Cyrus has been amazing in not only promoting the books, but also believing in the books, believing in the messages, believing in how do we help children, but more importantly, how do we help the parents to support the children? On that note, back to you, sir.
You know what, Paulette, thank you. And this was such a heartwarming introduction. And I was going to say, I am promoting the books because the author of the books changed my life for better. People support you when you're a source of positive change in their life. And you were that source of positive change in my life as well. I have saved a lot of people from the things that they were doing. But no one ever helped me the way you helped me. And that's something. Right? So that meant a lot to me. What the conversations we had and the fact that it changed the trajectory of my operations really. So promoting the books is just saying thank you, and I love what I do, and you've noticed that already. Every video that I create, every piece of lyrics that I write, every piece of audio that I edit, every marketing campaign that I run, I just love it. I've been doing it long enough to say I am used to it as well, but I also love it, and I couldn't imagine my life any differently. So I talk to people like you. So I can't ask for better. I can't. That's my life is. I'm happy. My life is much better than before I became a marketer. Right. I'm talking about before 2019. So now the question that was tickling me, and I didn't include in the main 10 questions, is that why is it that single parent households raise kids who are more likely to end up in prison or get involved in activities they shouldn't, like dealing drugs, doing drugs, and doing things they're not supposed to? Why is it? You have a partner who's very helpful as well. You have a husband. Would you have been able to achieve what you've achieved? Because Ben is quite an achievement. I've been following what he's been doing, and it's fantastic. And congratulations to you both.
Such a difficult question because
my questions are always difficult.
they always are, and sometimes I want to get through the screen and punch you. But the thing that I would say, by the way, I am a fidgeter. You'll get used to this. I'm always fidgeting with something, and it's probably my own anxiety. What I would say is this. When there are two parents actively involved in a child's life, whether they're living in the same household or living separately, but they have the child as the foremost important person in their lives. So they put that person first. They work together as a team. If one's taking them to sports on doing this, somebody else is doing something else. It's a team. That team can be in one household, it can be in two. So it's about the attitude of the two parents wanting to work together to create the best possible child and give that child the best possible start. And that doesn't mean money. I want to say that really clearly. I'm not talking about throwing money at a problem. I'm talking about throwing love, interest,
I knew you would say
emotional
that.
intelligence, right?
Mm.
I'm showing that is what's important. The money is not important. It's making sure that that child has got morals, has had a strong moral compass instilled in him or her. They have ethics. They have pleases and thank yous because they're really important, manners, and they have an attitude of caring and kindness. Now, you can have children in families with both parents living together who have absolute monsters for children, who have never shown an awful lot of interest in the kids. They just reproduced, had them, dressed them, do whatever they have to do. They live in the same house and they kind of coexist, but there's not the interest and there's not the involvement. So I think the child that comes from the family where they've got no interest in the child, they're equally likely to go on the wrong rails. The child that is from the one parent family by nature is automatically at a loss because when you say one parent family, that means that one parent is absent, one parent is not around, not interested, not around. If you're talking about co-parenting, that's different. But if you're talking about a parent that is singularly trying to bring up a child and work and run a house and do everything, that child is not going to have the investment in the time, the effort, the energy that a child would have if there were two parents. So that child may have more time to get involved in things they shouldn't. That child may go out a lot. Mum might work nights, mum might work shifts, mum might be doing whatever mum's having to do to pay the bills. And that could be, going out doing, I don't know if they still do them now, but, makeup parties or Tupperware type parties or something like that. Other plastic goods are available. But the point I'm making is that they could be out selling candles in the evenings to earn that extra bit of cash. Whilst they're out, they don't know what their kids are up to. Those children are out on the streets mixing with the wrong types of people. And what often happens is, and I'm going to say this, and I will, people can come for me, and I'm happy for them to do this. What happens is when a child is roaming, when I say roaming means just down about on their bike or on foot, just roaming, right? People like the drug dealers, the bad people, they've got their eye on what's going on the streets that they look after. And they see this kid roaming. They see this kid out and about on his own. And they go, that'll be a target. That would be ideal. We can go and show that kid some love. We can go and throw some attention at him, tell him how wonderful he is and great he is, and would he mind, as he's on his bike, delivering this little parcel for us? And if he does that, we'll give him a present or some money. And the kid goes, oh, that'd be nice. Okay, because we've got no money at home, we're skint. So great, where's your parcel? Little parcel? Okay, off it goes on his bike, delivers the parcel, comes back.
I'm sorry
He's
for
just
interrupting.
delivered.
For people who are outside the UK and listening to this podcast, skint, skint, that means moneyless and
Yes.
financially like cash is it cash strapped?
Completely cash struck. Yeah.
Yeah, cash poor.
Means
Yeah.
basically cash poor. Yeah.
Mm.
And the little parcels I'm referring to, you can imagine would be drugs, right?
Mm.
And so the child doesn't even know necessarily. I mean, they may know, but they may not know. They may be naive and just think they're delivering a parcel, or they may think, hang on a minute, am I doing something? Now, if that moral compass was in there, they'd be like, hang on a minute, this could be a problem. This could be something I shouldn't get involved in. And if Jack and Walter were in their minds, Jack would be going, hey, yeah, it's money, let's do it. And Walter would be saying, whoa, 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 hang on a minute. What do they want from us? Why
What
are we
would
doing
Walter
it?
do?
What would Walter do? What Walter would do is go, no, let's not, because you never know what this is going to get, where this is going to lead. But
So Paulette,
unfortunately,
just I'm sorry for interrupting. Just to make sure I
it's
am
fine.
reading between the lines correctly. You were telling me, and you're telling us, when there are two parents present, there is chances of succeeding or not succeeding, and
Yep.
and the absence of one makes those chances even slimmer. And also, when both parents are in competition over raising that kid, the kid would suffer in many ways. Did I get it right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if
There
both
was a
parents are
lady on LinkedIn, if
competing,
you remember. There was
Mhm.
just as an idea. There's a lady on LinkedIn, and I won't go into detail, but the child's first car, she bought a Honda or something, an older car, and the dad bought a Tesla, brand new. I mean, it was like, what the heck? You know? Where's the sense in that? What has that just told that child? And when I heard that and I got involved with the family, I just had to go, I have to step away from my own mental health because this is so toxic. It needs somebody in that country involved 24/7 because this is going one way only. So money can be as destructive as it can be being absolutely cash poor.
Absolutely, thank you. So today, now that that main point is clarified and it's out of the way, we're going to be talking about let me load this first. These are the excuses or reasons that single parents give us when their business has failed. The first one of them is, I don't have enough time. And when you ask them, why is it you don't have enough time to start your business? And the answer normally is, I'm working 2 jobs. I'm working for 2 other people. That's why I don't have enough time to work for me. That's a really complicated thing, isn't it? It looks like one of those things people can't solve, but there are solutions to it because there are millions of people doing it already. So how would you decipher that one? I am sorry, Paul. My questions are usually difficult questions, but this is beyond that because they don't have money. That's why they have to spend time with others, with other employers, right? And because they have to spend time with other employers or employer, um, they don't have the money. That's why they can't start the business, and that's why they work for other people. Because they work for other people, they don't have time to spend on their own business and make it thrive. It's like a catch-22 thing, isn't it?
100%. And the thing about time, that word time, it's a clock, right? It's what time means. It's a clock. And there are 24 hours in a clock, in a day on that clock. And you need to allocate so many to sleeping, and then you've got everything else you're doing. And I think that the thing we have to really bear in mind here is that time is limited. You cannot recreate time. You cannot go, I'm going to just waste an hour doom scrolling and then go, where'd that hour go? I've got all this work to do. Where's that hour gone, right? You
Yeah,
can't go
yeah.
get it back. It's gone. So I think that the biggest message with everything in life is that time is limited, so don't waste it. Use it as wisely as you can and focus on what truly matters instead of trying to do everything. So
Oh,
I'm
sorry, Paulette.
guilty of that.
For those parents who are in the back, they couldn't hear you well. What Paulette is saying is, please put your hand in your special vault, get some time out. Where from exactly? From the time you spend on scrolling, doom scrolling, and watching Netflix, and spending time with things and people who would not help you reignite your business, right? So, and what you're telling me indirectly is that the problem is not time, the problem is attention. Your attention is elsewhere.
Yeah, but also success comes from consistency, not perfection. So,
Mm.
in other words, if you do something consistently and you start to get into that habit of doing it consistently, even if it isn't perfect, then you start to find the time to do the thing that you wanted to do that was going to improve potentially yours and your kids' lives. And I think that if you actually take the clock and you take the time to write it all down, where did I spend those hours? You're going to find a great big hole. You're going to go, well, what happened to those hours? And it's going to be, oh, that was the film, and that was the this, and that was the that, and I watched this on this. And you'll find you'll probably lost 2 or 3 hours a day to stuff you don't need, stuff that doesn't actually, it might relax you. Now that's something I have to be careful about because people come for me on that. It relaxes me. Well, great, it will relax you, but it won't actually take you any further in terms of this goal of being successful.
So, um, the the time thing, right? The time objection, which shouldn't be an objection really. The answer to that one is rededicate your time to the things that matter to you, right?
Yeah.
Because in 10 years, 5 years time, in 10 years time, if somebody asks you, what have you been doing? What have you been doing? What have you been spending your time on? You don't want to tell them I was watching Netflix, I was partying, and now that I need the money, I don't have it, and now I don't have the time because my time is being spent making somebody else's dreams true, and come true, and that's my boss's dreams. You know, when your boss comes to you and says, "Oh, look at my expensive and flash car. If you work hard enough, next year I'm going to buy my wife one of those as well. Keep working, keep working." You know, so please work for yourselves, guys. Next one is, I'm constantly worried about money, especially in this economic climate. And what have you got to say to that, Paulette? I'm constantly worried about money, cash flow pressure. I don't have the money to inject into my business. That's why my business failed. That's why I can't reignite my business. What would you say?
Well, money matters. Ultimately, money matters. But managing your money with honesty. And, I use a lot of words that I hope land in the right way. I want you to be honest with yourself, not with me, because I don't matter. I'm talking about honest with yourself. Manage money with honesty, with discipline, and with careful planning rather than fear. Ethical financial decisions build long term stability and trust. So when you say, oh, I don't know where my money's gone, I used to have a book. I was skint. I was absolutely poor as a church mouse. And I would would be overdrawn on the day I got paid because my outgoings exceeded my incomings. I left care, was put into a halfway house, and that was the outgoings were higher than my wages. And it was only when I asked my boss to come with me, because I liked my boss, and I didn't do it to show him what was going on. I wanted someone by my side. And I said, would you come with me to the bank? Because I need to talk to them about a loan. So I want to try and clear my overdraft and then try and get on top of my finances. And he said, well, why have you got an overdraft? And I said, well, you don't understand what it's like. And then when I showed him, because I'd got my book, because I was trying to do it right, I wrote everything down. And he was like 19p on a packet of biscuits, and you break it into 3 for 3 meals. I'm like, yeah, that's the last 3 days of every month. And he was like, I'm heartbroken. So the point is, I know what it's like to manage money. But when you manage money with honesty and you really look at what you spend your money on, how you spend your money, make the right decisions. Every decision you take should be with a view to making you have a better, stable life in the future and hopefully give you some feeling that everything's going to be okay. That's ultimately what you want to do now is you want to be looking forwards to make sure that you've got your eye on what's coming down the line, but also that you're on top of what's going on as we speak. Back to you.
Thank you, Paulette. Thank you so much. Let's remember. Let's not forget the fact that worrying about things pushes you in a terrible direction. It makes you make hasty decisions. You make decisions that you regret later when you're panicking. Because it comes from a place of fear, right? So adults usually don't want to accept that they are scared because they're adults and they have their pride. But fear, being scared, being worried, whatever you want to call it, the adult word for it is apparently being worried. It's the same thing. You're scared. You wouldn't have enough cash, right? So people who say, "Oh, it's too risky," and they are scared. Maybe they have had a bad experience. Maybe they were raised in a culture that, in which they were told you shouldn't make risky decisions, right? But no risk, no rewards, right? So people who say I'm constantly worried about money and cash flow, they need to get help from their allies, friends, family. If you have to borrow money, just borrow the money, make the money, and return the money to the people who lend you the money, right? And most of the time, when you drill right into the core of the problem, what you find out is not money. It's not time either, right? So they're worried if they start, there's no safety net. So this is one of the things that single parents say. If you're a single parent, listen to this. And even if you're not a single parent, remember, if you're a parent, these are the things that parents have told me, and I've made a list, right? So I've got no one to fall back on, no safety net. So they're already thinking of failing before starting. What have you got to say to that, Paula? You're quite experienced in that area, and you've run businesses, not just one business. Go on, please go ahead.
Again, I hate you for these questions, but strength comes from resilience, right? So you gain strength, you gain physical and mental strength from resilience. If you seek support and need it and you get it, then that's going to really help you feel like, if I need it, it's there. Great, because that's a good, warm, lovely, cozy feeling rather than closed door and no one's there to help you. But facing every challenge alone is scary. There's no other word for it. Facing every challenge alone is scary. But thousands and thousands of people are doing it. So why should it be you that is struggling so much with it when everybody else is getting on with it as such? I think what I would try to say is I built and have always built genuine relationships. And I think if you make a genuine relationship, it's a sign of wisdom. It's a sign of if I was in trouble, I could make a call. That person would be there for me and I'd be there for them. So it's a two-way street. It's not like I'm relying on that person or I'm going to use them like a like a cash card machine. You're not using them as a cash point. You're not using your friends in an abusive way. But if you've got that relationship and you built it and it's got the strength that it should have, then you should be in a position to say, okay, we have a relationship strong enough with enough wisdom that we can beat the weakness of me coming to you and saying, I'm in a spot of bother. It's short term, but I'm in a spot of bother. I believe that if that relationship is strong and that you could turn it on its tail and you'd be supporting that person, then you would get that support from that person. So I think the reason that people have no safety nets is because they haven't built those relationships. And relationships are intrinsic to success. Relationships are intrinsic to resilience. Relationships are intrinsic to your own strength. Because by being in relationships, you learn about all the issues that they have, all the issues you have, and you come to a place where you get that strength. And I think that that's the most important thing I can tell you is to build relationships that are mutually beneficial. That way you have got a safety net. You create a safety net, but you're not asking for a cash point machine. Never ever use a friend like a cash point machine. Use a friend as a friend
You know,
or a
when you
supporter as a
say,
supporter.
when you say people are not starting their business or not building their business because they're worried about not having a safety net to fall back on. Um, the question you need to ask these people is, have you ever been somebody else's safety net?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
100%.
if you ask them, right? If you ask these people who say, I never, no one ever helped me with my business. So the question I would ask them is, have you ever helped somebody else with their business? And almost always the answer is no. And when you ask them why not, they would tell you, because I don't have the knowledge. And by the way, that's secretly one of the points I pick up along the way to understand why their business failed. They don't have the knowledge. And they never went after gaining that knowledge, right? I never had the knowledge. I didn't have the time. So, he or she is spending his time elsewhere. And but they never tell you, I wasn't interested. Just tell me the truth, right? Tell me the truth and tell me you did not do what it takes to build up your business. You did not spend the time on it. It's like nurturing a child, isn't it? We all know single parents who work 2 jobs, still raise a kid, and just get on with it, right? I am so proud of people like that. But if you're a parent, that child can be really demanding in terms of illnesses, raising a kid is time consuming. If you don't have a kid, you wouldn't understand it. If you have a kid, you're already there. You already know what I mean. So, and that's one of the things that's one of the reasons why parents sometimes turn around and say, "How am I supposed to run a business and raise kids?" What would you say to that, Paulette?
Well, I've done it.
You've done it.
I've done it. I think the most important thing is, and you have to remember that I am so child-centric, it's a little bit worrying for most people. So I'm very child-centric, but being present for your children while pursuing your goals reflects responsibility and integrity. But a healthy balance teaches children the value of hard work and family. So I can remember dropping my son off at nursery and him screaming whilst hanging onto my leg, "Don't leave me, don't leave me." And I was thinking, I am the worst person ever. I've got a meeting at 9 o'clock. This is going on. I dropped him off at 7:45, giving myself time to be prepared for my meeting. And now I've got this child like a limpet on my leg. And I'm like looking at the person, pleading with them, saying, "What do I do?" And they were like, "It's all right." And they sort of peeled him off me. And I thought, God, he's going to hate me. He's going to hate me. And I just got in the car and I sobbed. And then I drove home, got ready for the meeting, pushed through, did what I had to do, got the business, then sat and sobbed again. And meanwhile, I had a text message, and it was from the nursery saying, "Ben was happily playing 2 minutes after you left." 2 minutes after I left.
Okay, so Paulette, you're
And I was-
automatically explaining number 7 as well. So
Well, the point
that
is
is
that you
fine.
have to
That is fine.
understand that. You
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to understand that children play a game with you as well. And when they said to me about that, I didn't believe them. I thought they were just trying to placate me because I was so emotionally wrecked at the whole thing. The next day, the same thing happened, but this time I stayed behind. I went into the office and they said, "Right, hide in the office for 2 minutes. Then I want you to pop up and look through the glass window and see what you see." So he was screaming. 2 minutes later, playing. So you have to understand that kids, yes, they will pull on your heartstrings. Yes, there is always going to be, like, you're on a seesaw, you're like up and you're down and everything's fine for a couple of weeks and one of them gets a cold or something and then they want time and this one's demanding to go here, you're trying to balance things all the time. I get that. But I think as long as you let the children understand that the reason you go to work is to put the food on the table. The reason you go to work is to put the roof over their heads. You're teaching them that work equals food and a house and electric and internet and everything else. You're already giving them foundations. Remember the morals and the ethics. Teach them at that age. Look, I'm really sorry. You can sit in the other room, but you've got to be really quiet because I'm going on a Zoom call. After the Zoom call, I'll come and check on you. It's really important to make that point,
Yeah, and one day, the same kids, your children, will thank you for being there for them, even though back then you weren't physically present, but you were building their future. And your kids, I promise you, your kids would remember your attitude towards them more than the amount of time you spent with them. Your attitude towards them, how you reacted to them, how you acted towards them, how you reacted, right? How supportive they felt, how supported they felt when you were around. It's what you do when you're with them. It's never what you can't do when you're not with them, right? You still have time to compensate, right? You still have time to actually be with them and support them. It's what you do when you're with them. It's never what you can't do when you're not with them, right? So, if there is someone who's just joined the show and they haven't heard about Paulette Hallam's books, and perhaps haven't heard about Paulette Hallam yet, the characters you've come up with in your books inspires me, and it made me create a few characters in my books as well. You're a good one. You're a good one, Paulette Hallam. So let's no worries. Let's appreciate our fantastic sponsor, a box of tea.
Give me tea, give me tea, give me lots of tea. My new favorite is a box of tea. Cups of tea, pots of tea, give me lots of tea. My new favorite is a box of tea. Give me tea, give me tea, give me a box of tea. Can I please have a cup of a box of tea?
Milk to sugar. Tea milk to sugars. Tea milk to sugars. Tea milk to sugars.
Fire!
Ladies and gentlemen, we are lucky enough to be in the presence of Paulette Hallam, the phenomenal author of Jack and Walter series. Yesterday we talked about where do we begin when life falls apart, and one of the things that we talked about was how to reignite the business and reignite your love for your business. And then we decided to talk about the reasons that single parents or parents give us for not being able to reignite their business. So number 4 and number 7 were already explained by Paulette. So don't feel guilty for building your child's future, right? They will remember you for your sacrifices, and they will become you. They will emulate you, exactly. So keep doing what you're doing. It's okay if you don't see them 6 hours a day. It's all right. That leaves them with another few hours. Just be mindful of what you do and what you say to them during those hours, right? And also, some parents say, I'm completely burnt out, right? Kids, husband, wife, family, car payments, rent, this and that. I am tired. Okay, I'm a human being. I'm tired. I can't do it anymore. I'm burnt out. I'm completely burnt out. It sounds they sound fed up when they. I mean, that's the impression I got from them, right? So whoever says I'm burnt out, they sound a tiny bit fed up. Okay, so what they're saying is they're not saying I'm working too much. They're saying it feels like they're stuck in a loop, and whatever they do, they don't get the results they want, right? So what have you got to say to that, Paulette? What's your feeling about this? What's your knowledge about this?
Well, mental wellness is incredibly important. So being burnt out is actually part of what I call mental wellness. So taking care of your health and your
I'm sorry
mental
for
health.
interrupting you. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Paulette. Can you please explain about your show on LinkedIn as well? You have a
Yeah,
show
sure.
called
Yeah,
the
I have
same
a mental
subject.
wellness cafe. Yeah. We have a show on a Monday evening, which is called the Monday Mental Wellness Cafe.
What time?
It's at 7 p.m. BST or GMT, depending on which is which. But the premise of the show was really to be a open forum for people to come along and just say, I need help with this, or I need help with that, or what would you recommend for this? What would you recommend for that? It's not a counseling therapy show, it's a mental wellness show. So it's using your business mind, it's using your experiences, it's using life to see how we can offer suggestions and solutions to people's issues. So that's on a Monday, and then on every other Tuesday, it's the Children's Anxiety Show, which is for parents to understand children and why they become anxious children. But this plays straight into the mental wellness cafe, really, because I get to hear this saying probably every other week. I'm completely burnt out. I can't do it. I can't cope. It's all too much. And I say, when was the last time you took any time for yourself? And they say, never. But if you never take any time for yourself, then all you're seeing is that clock, that 24-hour clock, every single minute being eaten up by something like Pac-Man, just coming along and eating those minutes up. And that's the mental state that you're in. You're in a Pac-Man state. And what I try to say to people is you need to change the mindset. Okay. So look at that 24 hours in detail and find out where there's a gap. Where's there a spare hour, half hour that you can take yourself off if you're a woman or a man for a pampering session in the bathroom with the door shut and a sign on the door that says, nobody gets to come in, the lock's on, leave me alone, right?
Once your kids are punching the door, Mom, Dad, get out.
You're ignoring them. You've got the music on in there. You can dance yourself stupid. You don't have to put the shower. Yeah, you haven't even got to get in the shower. You can just turn the music up, put the phone on the toilet seat, and then not in the toilet, but on the seat. And
you also said something different yesterday as well. Sorry for interrupting you. You said go for a walk, half an hour, 45 minutes.
Well, so I'm going to say that there are numerous options. I have a friend who dances herself silly. She gives herself a half an hour dance break every day. 1, it takes her heart rate up and it's exercise. 2, she gets rid of all that anger and emotion and frustration, dancing herself like she's like back on the dance floor in the 70s and the 80s. There are other people who would require calm, not noise. They want calm to deal with their burnout. And what they need is a quiet country walk or a walk around the estate or just a walk into the trees and the bushes and whatever else you can find to just in nature for half an hour, 45 minutes. And that will just do like a reset button. Remember when the the computers used to have well, there are still gadgets that have got a little reset button. You stick a pen in the little hole,
The
and
cold
it
reset button, yeah.
yeah, reset button. That's what a walk can be. That's what a dance can be. And as daft as it might sound, screaming and shouting can be just as cathartic, right? So going into the bathroom and having a really good scream and shout and letting it all out, as they say, scream and shout and let it all out. That is like a terminology because it's real. You sometimes need to just let go. And then you come out of the bathroom and say, I was just washing my teeth rather angrily. Just having a little team meeting with myself and my teeth. That's all, nothing to worry about. And the kids are looking at it again. Oh my God, she's lost it. But the point is that you just needed a reset. And burnout is often used, it's just like a throwaway word. It's a throwaway word. Actual burnout is a state of anxiety, is a state of panic attacks, is a state of unable to function. People
Being
use the
overworked,
word,
perhaps?
yeah, absolutely. But it is definitely a state. You get there from overwork, but it's using the word burnout is so easy. Oh, I'm so burnt out. They work me to the fingers to the blah blah blah. Um, but were you? But or are you just absolutely shattered? And you didn't take any time for you, and you didn't look at that clock and find the gaps, you know? Find the gaps and give yourself those gaps back
Now, you
and
talk about
stop.
gaps. You talk about gaps, Paulette. Well, people don't have them.
They do.
Some people don't.
They
So
do.
they
They
say
do.
to me, listen, they say to me, that's number 6, right? I'm trying to do everything myself, right? And I got no help, and I am on my own. That is the reason why I have to. I'm the mum, I'm the tutor, I'm the nurse, and I am the businesswoman, and I am everything. I have to change the hat. The person remains the same. The hat changes. And I have to put the thinking cap on as well, in case the kids are trying to trick me into agreeing to something, and after a long day of work, I come home and my kids are fighting, and I come home from work and I have to start my business, work on my business, right? So that is number 6. I'm trying to do everything myself. That's why they're feeling the burnout. What have you got to say to that, Paulette? Number 6.
Well, I think they're all kind of merging, really. I think
Yes.
trying to do everything yourself, that's what it takes to be a parent. Sometimes you can have a partner who's in the forces. You can have a partner who works shifts, and therefore the large share of the parenting lands on you because the shifts work that's where they're asleep when you're getting up to look after the situation. They're coming in as you're going out. It's ships passing in the night. You hear these things all the time. But when you're trying to do everything yourself, again, the scream and shout and let it all out bit, there's always half an hour. There's always, even if it means getting up half an hour earlier, don't do the scream and shouting bit at 5:30 in the morning. But if you go to bed at a good time, like 10, 10:30 at night, and you get a good sort of 6, 7 hours sleep, that's enough to really function well. And then take that next half an hour to just sit, have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, 2 milks with tea milk and 2 sugars normally. But have a cup of tea, and it might even be from a box of tea. But the point is, you're having a cup of tea, you're sitting there, and you're just having your half an hour. Now, if you want to doom scroll in that half an hour because it relaxes you, no issue. But take that half an hour to give yourself the reset. So when you're talking about I'm wearing every hat, I'm doing everything, actually, we all have, and we all do, every single day. I have so many hats. Even now, I'm retired, I've got that many hats. So I think it's a bit of a cop-out, if I'm honest, because if you are a good leader, you have worn every hat there is, because otherwise you wouldn't be a good leader. If you are accepting other people's problems and then they become your problems, and then you are finding yourself thinking, then that's because you didn't have the boundaries in place. So I think that the thing about the every hat thing is we all wear every hat every day. I still have half a dozen hats, if not more, as do you, Cyrus. So, you know, we can't use that as our excuse. What we have to do is look at the clock and time and how wisely we're spending it, and look at the outcome of that time. You know, realistically, am I using my hours wisely? And if the answer is yes, and you are burnt out and you really are exhausted, then there's something wrong with your working capacity. You've either taken on too much,
Yeah,
or
exactly. Exactly.
there's you know, that's fair enough. That's absolutely
Yeah,
acceptable.
also,
But
it also tells us that you don't know how to delegate. So
yeah,
get help, ask for help. People who suffer like that, they are the same people who are too proud to ask for help, or
yeah.
asking for help when they are struggling doesn't cross their mind. Okay, so please always remember, you have friends, you have lots of friends. Okay, and you know people who might happily rush to your help. Just say, my kid struggles with math. Can you come to my house and teach my kid this and that math problem, right? And your friend will come to your house, more than likely, and will help you. Have you tried? Have you asked? Right? So for people who might think, oh no, that I'll be embarrassed. Well, on one hand, you have a kid who's struggling with math. On the other hand, we have your ego or embarrassment. Which one wins? Well, time will tell. So from now on, if you haven't done it before, ask for help. Please ask for help. Right? Ask.
And
You have
also,
friends, they can help you.
Cyrus,
Mhm.
accept that somebody might ask you for help, and you be willing to look at your hours in your day to give
Yeah,
that half an hour, that hour.
yeah,
It's all about the sharing of responsibility of
absolutely.
life.
It takes a village.
That's very true.
Raising a kid takes a village. And there are people who say, so number 7, I feel guilty whenever I work. So we already covered this one, number 7. There are people who say they feel guilty. Please do not feel guilty. If you want to feel guilty about something, you can feel guilty about not building your business and not building your kids' future, right? And also remember, if you're financially struggling because you don't have a running business, remember, the generations before you have failed to do exactly that. Please don't be a name who gets added to that list. Yeah, do something about that business. If you have an idea, everyone has ideas. If you have an idea which will solve a problem for someone, for other people, turn it into a business. It's already a business, remember? And whenever you feel it's not happening, millions of other parents are making it happen without moaning about it, without complaining about it, right? So if you're complaining about things, that means you've run out of solutions, which is natural. It's fine. People who complain are people who have run out of solutions. It happens in my life. It happens in your life, Paulette. It happens in everyone's life at that moment. Okay? So that moment is not a life sentence. It's just a moment, right? So once you had a moan about it, once you vent it to your friend or to your partner. Then move on and try to find solutions. Google something, right? If you Google your favorite singer, if you Google your favorite actor, you can find solutions to your business problems. Okay, you can Google them as well. So, number 8. Why is it you're not starting your business again? I've lost confidence in myself, and the problem is loss of confidence after a setback. Losing confidence after a setback, right? Imagine your local bakery says to you guys, I'm not baking bread anymore because we faced a setback. We're going to stop the business. Where are people going to get their bread from then, right? So if you're facing a setback, setbacks are life's way of telling you need to change, right? So what if you go to what if you imagine you're driving and you end up in a dead end? What would you do? Would you stay there forever, or would you back up and get the hell out of that road, right? So the same thing is applicable to business. You face a setback, you do something about it, you find solutions, you talk to people, you talk to other people who are doing it. Surely there are other businesses who are doing the same thing as you, right? Very successfully so. Get help, talk to them. Surely they would be happy to give you a couple of pieces of advice, right? So what should they do if they lose their confidence after failure, Paulette? What should parents do?
So I don't like the word failure. That's my problem. So I hate the word failure to start with. You can have a slump, you can have a dip, you can get out of business, you can have all kinds of things happen to you, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you failed. There could be lots of other influences that meant that business failed. So people say that failing is falling. Like a child learns to walk, same thing as I said yesterday, they fall over, they get back up again. That is the same thing that happens with life in every single every single subject. Everything we ever do in life is about getting up again after you've fallen on your tush and found yourself there going, what do I do now? So I say that failure isn't an opportunity, failure is an opportunity to learn. So don't do what you just did again, because there was an issue with it, clearly, somewhere down the line. But it doesn't measure your worth. It's a moment in time, back to that time again. So take everything that you learned before the failure and say, right, okay, when did it start to go wrong? How did I not see this, and this happening? And when you look at it through like the microscope of, retrospect, which is great, you see things very differently. And you might say, oh, it was when those people didn't pay me. It was when I suddenly had a cash flow problem because that company owed me a fortune and the company that I bought the stuff from was screaming for the money. That was the moment. So the answer is you don't go giving credit to that level ever again. You learn that if you've got 14-day terms, then you have to give your clients 14-day terms. Otherwise, you're giving yourself a cash flow problem. You can't offer 30 days and have to pay on 14 unless you've got a sizable amount of money in the bank, which most small businesses don't have. So I think don't see this failure or this hiccup as a measure of your worth. Your value is still there. Everything that you are is still there and it's in place and it's ready to go again in the same way it did when you fell on your bum, when you couldn't walk. So use the ability of retrospect, look back. I'm not saying don't pretend it didn't happen. I'm saying look back and look at the moments of kind of like honesty. And I'm not trying to say you're not honest with yourself, but most people aren't, if I'm honest. Most people aren't. If you act with honesty and integrity and you look back at what went on and how it happened and what the circumstances are, you will suddenly get a perseverance in you that will say, it wasn't my fault. This, and this happened. Yeah, I should have had an eye on it, but now I know what not to do. And when you go again wiser, sharper. Your eyes are watching everywhere to make sure that you don't have the same problem. I
So
know somebody who went wrong 5 times before he had success. You know,
yeah,
look at J.K. Rowling. How many times did she
yeah.
knock on doors of publishers and
I
got
think
told,
12
no,
times.
thank you? There you
I
go.
think 12 times.
12
Yeah.
times. 12 failures until she
Mm.
got told, here you go. And now look,
Yes.
right?
Now, when you facing a setback, when something stops you, it's not. It doesn't mean you've lost all of your skills.
No.
Right. So if a gymnast falls, what do? They stand back up again and carry on. Right. Just because they fall doesn't mean the gymnast has lost all of her or his capabilities built up throughout the years. Oh, sorry guys, I'm going to stop doing gymnastics because I just fell. Imagine how ridiculous that would sound, right? So don't lose your confidence, right? If anything, you should have more confidence because now you have a setback or a failure under your belt. You have experience, you have learned. So now, if you have a business and you stop that business, remember your kids are watching you, right? What message are you sending out to your kids? Right? Once failure happens or setbacks happen, it's time to throw the towel in and stop entirely. That's the message you're sending to them. Is that a good message? I don't think so. Right? And by the way, you're not just living for yourself. You're living for your kids. I mean, in terms of inspiring other people. Other people are watching you. You're not just living for yourself. Your neighbor, your friends, your family, your parents. Everyone's watching you. If you stop because you lost your confidence, what message are you? How are you inspiring them? Right? Yeah. So the message you're sending them is, okay, guys, if you failed, also stop whatever you're doing. Right? That's the message you send. That's not a good message at all. I do not want to be the recipient of such a message. So the next one is I can't afford to take risks. I can't afford to take risks. Before I let Paulette cover this one, because it's a very important one. Before she does that, I'm going to say, when you look at risk, when you think of the word risk, depending on the decision that you're making, that decision is also a risk that you're taking. Let me explain to you why. Let's say the risk is for you to sell your car and buy some raw material and start building your product. That's a risk. Some people say, no, I'm not going to sell my car. That would be a risk. However, that is exactly the moment that you are taking the risk of keeping your car and allowing the car to get depreciated every year after year after year after year. And in 5 years' time, that car's price would be half. But right now, you could have sold it and purchased the material and you could have created your product with the money, right? So however you look at it, whatever decision, whatever risk you take in or not taking is also a risk in itself. So not taking the risk is also a risk. So there are two risks that you're looking at. Every moment you're looking at a risk. Taking it is one risk and not taking it is another. Decision's yours. Now, Paulette, how would you cover number 9? I can't afford to take risks.
I think everything you said makes sense. The word risk, I mean, you become more risk averse as you get older because you start to look at your pension pots and things like that. But if we're talking about younger people with nothing to stress about in terms of putting money away because you've got time to do that. This time's a big thing today, but you've got time to do that. So what I say is this: if I hadn't have taken the risks in my life that I did, I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't be having the opportunity to have taken early retirement, to have been able to live the life we live, to give my son the best opportunities I could, to have retrained, to have invested in myself. So I took risks all the time, but they were calculated risks. And what I mean by a calculated risk is where I've actually sat down with a pen and paper again, pros and cons. And I think if you're making thoughtful, informed decisions, which is what pros and cons are, instead of acting out of fear or impulse, you can have what I call ethical risk taking. So it's based on what you believe inside to be right. You trust yourself ethically, that you can make those risks protecting your family, protecting the people that you're responsible for, but you're still pursuing that opportunity. And I think that the point I'm making is you don't put everything you've got on red, because obviously that's not a ethical or a thought out or a sound decision. But what you are doing is looking at life and going, this isn't just about me. This is about our family and everybody else. But then if I don't do it, I won't be able to give them the opportunities that I want to. So I don't think you throw caution to the wind, as an expression we have in the UK. But what you do is make the right decisions for the right reasons and with ethical risk taking based on protecting everybody's interests.
Yes.
And that's a sound way of answering that question, I think.
Yes, of course it is. Thank you. And as the last point on number 9, if you are at a point deciding whether you should take a risk to start a business or not start a business, how do you know? How can you tell if it's the right decision or not? Here's the test, guys. Here's the test. Let your brain answer that question for you. If your brain tells you don't take that risk because don't start your business, don't restart your business because it would be safer to not start, that is your brain telling you a massive BS. That is the wrong choice. So if the answer that your brain comes up with says, if the answer is don't start because it would be safer, not because any other reasons, because it just feels safe not to start the business, that's the wrong choice. That's how you know you're making the wrong choice, right? Don't start this adventure because it feels safe to not start. So that's the best way to find out if the decision you're making is right or wrong, right? So I always remember, the only thing that your comfort zone gives you is comfort. Is comfort what you're after? Is comfort what's going to be helpful to you in 10, 15, 20 years time and to your children? I don't think so, right? I do not think so. So number 10, there are people who feel so traumatized after their business fails. They have this fear of starting again. Those single parents or those parents would tell me when I was talking to them, when I talked to them, they told me, I'm scared to start again. Fear of starting again. And I was like, scared, as in scared? And they were like, yeah, I am. It just scares me because of the experience I've had. I feel traumatized. That made me wonder what is going on. Because on one hand, we have a parent who says, I feel too scared to start. On the other, we have a parent who's so sure that, because when is it that people are too scared? It's either the previous experience has been is still scaring them, or they are scared the same stuff would happen to them in the near future. So they are so sure about it. That's what they're scared. It's like touching something hot, and we've all done it in childhood, in adulthood. Touching something hot that we're trying to avoid, because once bitten, twice shy, as they say, right? So they are so sure the same thing is going to happen to them, not thinking that this time they are more experienced and they should be less scared. So what is your response to that, Paulette? When people say, I'm scared, which means trauma, right? I'm scared to start again. What would you say to that?
I think if you lose hope and you lose courage, it's a bit like the yellow brick road, isn't it, this? You know, you're looking for things. You're looking for hope out there. You're looking for courage. You're looking for heart. You're looking to combat that fear. So when the lion in the Wizard of Oz is saying, you know, I want to be angry, I want to learn to fight, I want to do these things, I think the courage that he's looking for is to move forward in spite of the fear and despite the fear. So if I imagine the Wizard of Oz on the Yellow Brick Road, and I see all the characters with all the things that they were all looking for, and it turns out they all had them inside them. They just didn't realize it. And so I think that's my answer to I'm too scared to start again, and that fear is crippling me and stopping me. I'd say probably go and watch The Wizard of Oz. But every new beginning is a chance to grow. It's a chance to gain greater wisdom and confidence in what you're doing. I would also say about The Wizard of Oz again, you know, it wasn't all just full of great story. It was there was hiccups along the way. They had problems along the way, you know? And that was a good thing, because that made them all have to problem solve, right? And I think that that's what we're talking about. It's having the ability to say, I can problem solve. I'm wiser because of what happened. I've got more confidence because of what happened. I actually am in a better position now than I was when I did it before, because of everything I've been through. So actually, this new beginning is easier. It's so much easier because I've done it all before. You're taking a risk but it's calculated. It's strategic. It's well thought out. It's planned. And I think that newfound confidence from what happened, I know people go, how can you talk about confidence when they talk about somebody scared of starting again? It's looking at all the things that you did and did well and saying, I didn't know that before. And I'm taking all of those skills into my new future, into my new beginning. And that means that you can actually say, right, I'm moving with confidence. I can do this. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, Paulette. Thank you so much, Paulette. I was going to say fear, as they say, it's false evidence appearing real, right? In the equation of life, the past never equals the future, right? So whatever's happened in the past is whatever's happened in the past. It's water under the bridge, right? So it was bitter, yes, it was, and it was traumatic, yes, it was. It built resilience in you, yes, it did. Now you're stronger, right? It's okay to be cautious, but being fearful of everything, it's just, what kind of life is it? A life filled with fear. It's a low quality life. You don't want that. You want a life where you more and more and more comfortable with bad stuff that might happen. Well, so what? You survived the last one. You survived the last incident, right? If you went bankrupt, you're still alive. Any day above the ground is a good day. Yeah. So your business failed. I understand. I'm sorry to hear that. But where you are is where you are. It doesn't mean it's where you're supposed to stay and get stuck forever. You remember that example I gave you guys a few moments ago? If you drive through a dead end, what would you do? Would you leave your car there and just walk back home and leave the car there forever? Or would you back up and drive back? Right? If things have gone wrong, that means there's something you got wrong. Get it right. Start your business again, because you deserve it. You deserve a better life. If you're a parent, if you're not a parent, it makes no difference. If you're a single parent, it makes no difference. There's no logical justification for you not having the life you want and you deserve. Please go ahead, Paulette. We want to add something.
I was just about to say that everything we've been speaking about is about lack of confidence, really. It's about thinking too much, giving too much of that time to thinking about what ifs. The what if could this happen? What happens if that happens? I appreciate you have to be cautious, absolutely. But if you give too much time to the what ifs, all you're going to do is talk yourself out of everything, because you'll look at every reason why not to do it,
Absolutely.
not every reason why you should.
Absolutely. So, thank you so much for being with us for another episode of Tea Milk to Sugars.
Tea milk to sugars. Tea milk to sugars. Tea milk to sugars.
Paulette, I have created a song for this episode. It's a song, after you had that massive comeback after that health problem and you started the podcast, and that encouraged me to and inspired me to write this song. And that is a song that has a special place in my heart, right? So I'm going to share my screen here, and hopefully it will work. And play the song for you guys. Okay. Can you see my screen, Paulette?
No.
No. How about now?
Yes.
Yes. I'm going to put my microphone on mute.
Start again. It's been long enough. Break the chain. You've been a quiet lioness. Now it's time to roar again. Time to cause an uproar again. You fought battles no one saw. Those scars were never earned in vain. Leave the shadows. Step into the spotlight. Stand back up and start again. Start again. Start again. Start again. Break every chain. Again and again. Every fall has made you stronger. You won't have to wait much longer. Cause the fire never left your heart. Today's your day. Make it start. You had enough of this pain. Leave the past out in the rain. One more chance. Here's all you need. Stand back up, dry your eyes and start again. One more chance. One more dance. Your breath taken like Spain and France. One more fight with all your might. One more day. One more night. This is your moment. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's Let the world see you rise again, rise again, rise again, rise again, rise again. Let the world get surprised again. I believe in you. Start again if things aren't good yet. It's not the end yet. I bet you've been hiding for ages. Lionesses don't belong in cages. Start again, start again, start again, start again, start again, start again. It's never the end if you start again.
What do you think, Paulette? You're on mute, Paulette. Paulette, you're on mute.
I say I was quite tearful it's quite emotional because
Oh,
that yellow brick road, you showed a yellow brick road. You didn't know it, but you just did. You showed a road that was all windy, and you showed a lion. And we've just been talking about the yellow brick road,
talking
and I'm like,
about,
whoa,
yes,
get out of my head, right?
Emerald City, isn't it?
Exactly. But it feels so much like that's what we're talking about. We're talking about taking everything for whatever it is and whenever it is and however it is, and just going, okay, that was then, and this is now, and off we go again. And I think you'll always regret not doing it. You'll never regret trying.
So if there's someone out there who hasn't decided to start again, perhaps this episode could also be called Start Again,
For sure.
right? So we covered 10 reasons single parents say their business failed and how to start again, right? So please go to the comment section wherever you are watching the show, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and tell us what you think. Tell us what is it that has perhaps stopped you from starting your own business, and or tell us if you started your business, what was your journey like? Okay, there are millions of people out there who have gone through the same things that Paulette went through. Only the version might vary, right? The version might be different, and maybe not as intense as Paulette's experience, because she went within an inch of her life. And I'm really glad she's with us again. And despite your family being so worried for you, that worry never materialized, and you're with us. And I'm glad you are a proof to the point I'm trying to make. You are proof for that. 80 to 85% of the worst fears of yours never come true, right? They never come true. So thank you so much for watching another episode. Tea, milk, 2 sugars, and we'll see you in the next one, guys. Thank you so much for your time.